Hello and welcome to this week's Market Talk. It's actually another special on mental health and well-being. And today we have with us CEDA Director General Adam Mason, who is also the founder of the recent Together We Will initiative. And we have Matthew Kitchin, who is the commercial manager of C&C Catering equipment. And he also participated in the recent Mental Health England half-day a training course on mental health awareness. So thank you both for joining us today. Adam, I'm going to kick off with you. So could you just give us a bit of a recap as to why yourselves, and I think it was CEDA Bond as well, helped to initiate Together We Will?
Yeah, absolutely. You referred to me as the founder there. If anything, I'm co-founder. It's been put together by both organisations. And will be governed by many more people. So we first started having conversations 9, maybe 12 months ago about essentially corporate social responsibility and the fact that more and more businesses, more and more members, more and more organisations in our industry are facing responsibilities, yes, which are fast becoming, in particular sectors, obligations. So in public sector tendering and in the contracting world, what used to be nice haves are actually becoming must haves in terms of an organisation in the supply chains in those respective sectors actually being able to demonstrate tangibly and demonstrable their activities surrounding and relating to corporate social responsibility. So it's corporate social responsibility, so very much corporate and company focused, and what initiatives and what support could we as an organisation and organisations put together, put in place, what challenges or topics needed addressing. And I think we focused on 4 initially. And they are equality, diversity and inclusion, environmental sustainability, health and well-being, and general philanthropy and charitable or community projects specific to the individual company. So its initial thoughts and foundings were in, what can we do to support our members in meeting these, as I say, what are responsibilities and the fast becoming obligations. Very early on in the conversations, it was ascertained that this is an industry thing. This can't be about individual memberships of CEDA or CEDA Bond or anything like that. The topics that we're talking about and the challenges that we're looking to address are much bigger, much greater than that, and need industry-wide engagement. So that's the thought process behind the initiative. Together We Will be a limited company. It's actually registered now as a limited company, operating as a social enterprise. What that means is that it will be a trading company. What hasn't yet been determined is how it will trade, what it will do to raise funds and raise revenue and to make it commercial. But all aspects of any profit or revenue raised will be ploughed back into providing these solutions and activities surrounding the kind of the core areas of focus that we have.
Right, yeah. And so could you give us a bit of an idea as to the short and long-term objectives of the initiative?
Yeah, I mean, we obviously kind of kick-started things, as I say, having had 9 to 12 months of discussions, very informal to begin with, but then accelerated in terms of a need for action. So the first area of focus has been health and well-being, specifically mental health. And the next stage, and no doubt we'll come on to talk about those, and Matt can give us his feedback and thoughts on what we've done to date. But the medium-term objective and what we're doing now, I've had several conversations and there's several more to come with individuals within the industry who have put their hand up to say, yeah, we want to be involved in this, and actually talking to them about becoming directors and board members of the new initiative. that will very much dictate the agenda, those people and the wider kind of committees and groups that we have working within the organisation. That will dictate what the agenda is. But essentially, as I said, in the medium to long term, the core focus is to provide solutions, having engaged and provoked conversations and started discussions as to what solutions and support do companies within our industry need in order to meet the responsibilities, requirements and obligations from a corporate social responsibility stance. So that's probably vague and woolly, but it's not for me to determine what our members need. It's for them to determine, what the industry needs. It's for the industry to determine what support it needs, which we will then provide the solutions to.
Perfect. That's probably a great time to bring Matthew in then as well. Matthew, why did C&C want to get involved in the Together We Will initiative, and you know, what insight can you give us to that involvement?
Yeah, well, I think mental health awareness and the training that goes alongside it has been a long time coming. And, you know, Adam's saying there that the conversations have been going for the last 9 to 12 months it's fantastic to hear. And I think that's one of the reasons why it has been so well received as well. Especially, you know, in the current climate and the multiple lockdowns, I think it's been brought to everybody's attention a lot more. And, you know, there have been conversations we've had with how do we deal with it? How do we, you know, help our colleagues as much as we can? You know, should they need us in this, you know, for this topic? And, you know, through multiple heartbreaking events in our industry, I think this is absolutely perfect timing. And I know everybody got a lot from the first course that went on over the last few weeks. I think mental health itself has been, like a lot of physical illnesses, now people are realising you either have dealt with it yourself or someone you know or someone you love has dealt with it. And I think that's it being brought to the forefront of people's minds. You know, and the training's been great for that. The first one we've done, I think people are really now understanding how important it is, and the training that needs to be with it.
Yeah, fantastic. So what are you hoping to achieve from a company point of view from your involvement? Is it very much about education and a framework and those kind of aspects?
Absolutely, it absolutely is. I think that is what we want to help, that, you know, our colleagues and not even just our colleagues, you know, people we know throughout the industry. We want to be able to, as well educated as we can be, and to help people where we can. Obviously some things won't want to be discussed between work colleagues, but it's your typical, you know, now we can pick up on the water cooler chat and that it might be deeper than people first thought. As a company, we want to be able to make sure that, you know, the people that we work with are as, you know, as happy and healthy as they can be. And that's what, you know, we just want to educate ourselves and be in a position to help people as much as we can be. Yeah.
Good stuff. So Matthew, what did you think of the mental health awareness training course that both of us participated in the other week?
I thought it was absolutely fantastic. I think one of the shocking things was that I thought I knew so much and I didn't. You know, I thought as a 29-year-old, I won't say young, but as a
young to everybody else.
as a 29-year-old bloke, I thought that I knew about it. And I thought that, you know, I thought that to be honest, I thought the training would be a walk in the park, and it was an eye opener. It was anything but that. And people, you know, realised that through our breakout groups, they realised that they had they had points to them that they hadn't realised. And I think that's what it's probably going to help people a hell of a lot. The training, and I've looked at, you know, the more training that Mental Health First Aid England do. I thought it was absolutely brilliant. I'd recommend it to anyone. I have recommended it to people. And I thought Stu, who ran my particular course, was fantastic. And, you know, he openly talked about his struggles in the past and how he was in a position to help people. And I think that's someone like Stu, and how friendly he was the best kind of person you could learn from.
Good stuff. So I'll come back to Adam for now. So in terms of like the costing structure on these kind of courses, I know there has been a little bit of a debate about what the costs represent and that kind of thing. So could you just kind of clarify that for the industry?
Yeah, absolutely. So when we first looked at what our initial actions would be, we've held and hosted a webinar with Carrie and Clark Carlisle. That was free of charge for people to attend. That was attended by 60 people in the industry and has been viewed 117 times on demand since. A very honest, open, emotive webinar, which feedback on has been great. When it came to the first mental health first aid England training, we did a bit of due diligence and we spoke to 4 organisations, a couple of charities, a private training organisation, and then Mental Health First Aid England, who are in fact a social enterprise themselves. So any profits that they raise or make or are generated are then go into raising awareness of mental health in the workplace, collaboration with charities, and then probably their most important is the recruitment and training of additional trainers so that they can deliver more. And I think I'm right in saying, Claire and Matt, you can maybe correct me if I'm wrong, but at the start of the session, Stu suggested that Mental Health First Aid England are provide more training in Europe, I think, than any other organisation on the topic of mental health first aid. So they charge for delivering training courses, and we passed on that cost to the companies that put people on that course. So from our point of view, it was a not-for-profit exercise. We administered it and we facilitated it, but the only cost involved was passed on. Another reason for choosing Mental Health First Aid England, as well as their standing and their credibility and the fact that they work with a lot of other associations and membership organisations, was actually the speed at which they could operate. And even then there was a 6-week lead time. And the sad fact is that a number of organisations are actually being swamped at the moment with the need for mental health training. They said we're able to deliver the first 25 within 6 weeks and the second 25 within 2 weeks. So we had 50 people going on 2 courses 1 week apart. But some of the other organisations we talked to were talking about 12, 16, 20-week lead times to deliver training. And ultimately, in one instance, one of the charities we were talking to said, speak to Mental Health First Aid England. This is what they do. They're geared up for it. That's the avenue that you need to explore. Because we were very conscious that we wanted to do this quickly. We didn't want to raise a bit of momentum through the webinar and through the conversations that we were having to then for things to go quiet for 10, 12 weeks. We needed to act. So yeah, that's how we arrived at Mental Health First Aid England as our provider. As I said, we've delivered 50 people through 2 courses, and we're in the process of recruiting an additional 25 for the 3rd course. And the aim is that we will we will facilitate as many courses as there is demand. And what we're finding is that the people that went on the first 2 courses are talking to their colleagues, not only within their business, but also within the industry. And therefore we're getting inquiries from those people to start building up that next 25, and then the next 25, and then the next 25. So yeah, to answer your question, that's how we arrived at the provider we did, and how it was facilitated and administered.
I think when you first set up the initiative, Adam, you were very, very clear in the fact that this is a topic that needs to be handled by professionals, and you're all about engaging with the right people in order to do that. You mentioned there that I think you said you were talking with 5 companies at the beginning. Did you expect to engage with more providers moving forward?
Yeah, I think so. And again, it's one of those where we'll go where we need to. We'll go where the requirement is and where what's determined or deemed the best solution to be provided. One thing we will do is engage a specialist consultant on this topic and all the other topics that we're going to be talking about and discussing at that level to help guide what was needed. but everybody we spoke to in the first instance said, it's about starting conversations, it's about continuing conversations, it's about raising awareness, it's about educating, it's about tackling stigmas where appropriate, and then it's about providing signposts and information for people to go to. So we've kind of followed that pathway that was set out by professional people, and engaged with professional people to deliver those various areas of activity and solution and support.
Okay, great. And Matthew, coming back to you, in terms of the learnings that you took from your participation in the course, coming back into the office and getting back into the day-to-day job again, have you tried to action any of the learnings that you had, or pass any of the information on?
Yeah, as Adam said, one of the things that we've done is spoken to other people at the company and said that it was very much a worthwhile course. And going forward, it's something we'll be interested in enrolling more people on. We've got 2 subsidiary companies, and as much as my training can be great, and it was so it was so well received, if I'm not in those 2 other offices, someone else needs to be aware of stuff that we all learn on the course. So it's definitely something that's been spoken about more people being enrolled on the course, because I think, quite literally, the bigger the better, and the more the merrier. And being able to, recognise a change, positive or negative, in someone's mental health, I think it's so important. And figuring out if they would wish to speak to any of us, and for our colleagues to know that somebody has been trained up and is willing to listen and speak, and has learned a little bit about the subject, or will learn a lot about the subject as it goes forward, because it's it's certainly something I'd be interested in keep going forward and learning with.
If I could just interject on that, sorry Claire. No? I think the points you've just made, Matthew, are great, because yes, it's about corporate social responsibility, obligations and requirements. It also goes deeper than that. It's about the image of the industry. It's about recruiting and retaining people within your business, but also within the industry. It's about being a more professional industry, and all of these things feed into what CEDA and what other membership organisations in the industry are trying to achieve and trying to do. And the challenges, and in some instances crises, that we're facing from a skills and training point of view at the moment, all of this is going to make it a more attractive industry for people to want to, first of all, enter, and second of all, stay in, because they're going to feel looked after, and they're going to feel that their businesses are taking them as individuals seriously. So all of the things that Matt's just mentioned, yes, it's about, some of the statistics that came out on the course, and forgive me for reading, but 70 million working days are lost every year because of mental ill health. So there's real commercial reasons for doing this and addressing this, as well as what you might call the more ethical or human reasons. So they all add up, I think, and they all will play a part in hopefully the medium and long-term objectives of delivering a better industry with better companies and more people wanting to work in it and stay in it, because they feel valued and respected and looked after.
Good points, good points. And I was just going to say to Matthew, I mean, what are C&C's next steps for being involved in the Together We Will initiative and the mental health training that's already been undertaken?
It will be, and to perhaps echo, what I've just said, it will just be more people and more training, with the mental health awareness and with the others that Adam mentioned earlier. I think the initiative is fantastic, and I think it's great that it's been coming for, it's been planned for such a long time. And as Adam said, it's had to be accelerated in a way. And thank God it has been, because I think it's brilliant. And the more courses that go on, the more we'll be enrolling in, and that we'll be involved with. And it's just another string to the bow of the whole industry, I think. As Adam said, to be more professional. I mean, huge multinational companies will have, departments dedicated to this. Now, many companies in our industry won't have that, but to be able to have staff who've been trained in it and feel comfortable enough to, to take that role in their job description is great, and we'll just continue to support it, as and when we can.
Good stuff. Also, I noticed on social media over the last few days that C&C is celebrating its 40th anniversary. So
that's right.
So how are you guys marking that occasion? Because there's not many distributors that get there, is there?
We're really lucky. We're really thankful and grateful. We turned 40 on Sunday. So we had everyone in the office yesterday. The partners of one of our directors, Mark Roxburgh, she made us an incredible cake. Everyone came in. We had staff from the 3 companies come over if they could, and we just had a little bit of a celebration. And to those who couldn't, the thanks got passed around. Nobody's work's gone unnoticed, and the whole, it's to the whole industry. It's to our clients, our colleagues. It's to everyone. How tough the last year and a half's been for everybody, and we are looking forward to planning a party as and when we can. It's been coming for a long while, and with restrictions now allowing it, I'm sure that'll come at some point. But it's been absolutely brilliant. We've had a nice little a bit of social media work. If people want to share their favourite memory with C&C, they can win a bottle of champagne. So that's across Twitter and LinkedIn, and we've had some great ones so far, which has been brilliant.
Fantastic, good stuff. Hope the hangover's not too bad today, then, Matthew.
All good, all okay.
Looking we're coming towards the end of our time together, but Adam, we'll perhaps just sort of finish off talking about the next steps for the initiative. And really, I guess with this whole topic, and if you look at what this topic was like just a few years ago when we all attended conferences and industry gatherings and so on, there really wasn't much spoken about it. So we're very much still at the beginning of the journey, aren't we?
Yeah, we are. I mean, we actually brought an organisation to our conference, in our last conference in 2019, and they had a speaking slot on main stage at conference. We followed that up with an industry-wide survey, asking questions about what different organisations have in place from a mental health point of view. The response to that was, I suppose, disappointing would be an answer, that would be for people's ears at this time of day. It was limited response, and the response that we got wasn't particularly positive. And I think when we started having these additional conversations 9 to 12 months ago was, okay, we attempted to bring the horse to water 2 years ago. We might need to give it a little bit more of a kick to help it to drink. And so that's why there's an additional focus. That's why there's resource being put into it by CEDA and indeed CEDA Bond, to get it off the ground. And you're right, we are at the early stages. Our long term, and you might call it lofty, you might call it unrealistic, but it's still an ambition, is to have an individual within every organisation in the industry that has attended either the course that we facilitate or additional courses. They choose their own courses and their own training providers. That's fine. We see our role as starting the conversations and providing solutions. If other people want to take their own solutions, that's grand. As long as the box is being ticked. And as I say, from a health and well-being point of view, that's where we are. But we're well aware we've got other challenges when we talk about equality, diversity and inclusion. I think I'm right in saying I've read, Claire, your expression, is it male, pale and stale for the
male,
industry?
pale and stale. Oh yes, I
Yeah,
get on the soapbox.
so things like that they do need addressing. And environmental sustainability does need addressing, and philanthropic and charitable projects, they do need addressing. And I think we kind of thought we can either sit on our hands and let people just either get on with it themselves, or in many cases not, or we can perhaps start to provoke conversations, suggest solutions, but ultimately, if it leads to action either directly through us or independently of us, then that's the win.
Yeah, perfect. And just one more point to end on. When you launched this initiative, and I think you spoke at the beginning about it, you made it very clear that this is not just for CEDA members or CEDA Bond members, it's the entire industry. Have people heeded that message? Have you had engagement from people that aren't part of the membership circle?
Yeah, we have, and it's interesting. You know, the whole driver behind creating a new business with a brand new name, not linked to either CEDA or CEDA Bond, was to hopefully try and demonstrate that it is for the industry. Initially being administered and facilitated by, but we're slowly starting to play catch up on that now. Yeah, it's been interesting because we are getting engagement and involvement from members of neither. Some are members of one and not the other. So the message is getting across. The message is there. It was actually, I don't know if I suppose it was disappointing in the beginning when we kind of announced it and there were people saying, oh, well, I'm not a member of neither, therefore I can't participate. And no, that's not right, and the silo mentalities that exist, could potentially be damaging to this, because we don't necessarily want to leave any business behind. Any business that recognizes they need support in these areas, please pick up the phone, and many have, and many have directly engaged in it. We've had individuals who at the minute aren't working for an organization, and they've said we'd really like to attend the training course. And in that instance, we've said, okay, we'll cover the costs for you, because we see it as an obligation for the employer to pay for the employee or to pay for themselves, to take that responsibility. But where that's not possible, where either the employer isn't interested in doing that, but the employee still wants to be a part, then that's the type of situation where, yeah, absolutely, we'll cover the cost where there's the will, but not perhaps the way. And yeah, we've had, I think, we had three people on the initial webinar who were out of work and unemployed, and therefore facing their own mental health challenges at the time as a result of that, who went on the webinar, and we've been in dialogue and communication with them kind of ever since, not by way of we're offering support or professional advice, just that they want to stay connected with the industry, and so they're registered on our e-learning platform, and they're get invitations to other webinars that we're doing, industry specific ones. So yeah, it's very much for any organization within the industry that feels they need support on this matter, that perhaps don't have their own answers or solutions, and feel like they want to be involved.
Yeah, and should they get in touch with you directly, or do you have a dedicated website?
Yeah,
shout out?
Absolutely. Well, we have a website for the Together We Will initiative, but in the first instance, until we're kind of established with specific contacts relating to that, then yeah, I'm not difficult to find via the CEDA website or on social media. Then yeah, please pick up the phone. It would be great to talk. And as I say, it will fit some, it won't fit all, but the kind of numbers that we're generating at the moment, there's been 50 people from 39 companies that have attended a mental health first aid course. There's a number, as Matt said, who have made inquiries about the 1 and 2 day to get formally qualified in it, and that's encouraging, and that's really good. We've had 180 odd people that have viewed a webinar, and that's provoked a number of messages of kind of thanks and support, and the initial outlay of people saying if you need anything. And in terms of the board that we're putting together and the groups and committees that we're putting together, we're talking to operators, we're talking to suppliers, we're talking to distributors, design houses, project houses, service companies. And so the board and the committees that come from that will be absolutely reflective of the industry, which I think is important as well. So yeah, it's gathering a pace, and we will have announcements about the individuals and the people that are going to be involved in that. And then obviously it will be a case of either get in touch with me or get in touch with one of these people to be able to give you the information.
Great. Okay. Well, yeah, great to hear such early progress, and we'll stay tuned for further news going forward.
Thanks, and a final thank you to you two as well. I think your support of the initiative has been great in terms of the coverage that you've helped us to gather, and the people you've helped us to reach that ordinarily we're unable to reach. So thank you both for that as well. It's good to see, you know, you're married to the industry. You know, you're not just dating it, you're married to the industry. So thank you for that.
And thanks to you, Adam, as from a member, you know, to yourself, to CEDA, to Mark and CEDA Bond, and everybody behind the scenes who's been involved, and obviously to Claire and Andrew and the catering press. It's been brilliant, and it has been well received. So, you know, not many people give praise. Everyone's quick to, you know, everyone's very quick to speak out against something negative. So thank you for everything you've done, because it's been great.
Oh,
I'm going to put that on social media now. That's my favourite C&C moment, Matt. Thanks.
You might win a bottle of champagne.
Okay. Thank you so much. Before I get too embarrassed, we do have to finish up now. We have run out of time, but thank you both. Thank you, Adam. Thank you, Matthew, for talking about this very worthy subject, and we will indeed continue to bang the drum on that. And thank you, everyone who's watching or listening. And yes, we'll see you again for another Market Talk soon. Goodbye.